Hello and welcome to things I find interesting that happened today in the past, aka Tifitht Itp. This show is all about the events that occurred today in years past, both recognized by actual historians, but mainly things I personally find intriguing enough for me to bring to you. I ran out of breath there for a second, but anyway, the music in the background is Electro-Light by Symbolism, which I found on the YouTube channel No Copyright Sounds. For links to the app, music, and anything else potentially interesting, check the underbar. I got my turtle helmet on, are you ready? Cause I'm ready. Anyway, on with the show! Today is Tuesday, aka Tuesday, March 8th, 2016. In 2004, a new constitution was signed by Iraq's governing council. In 1985, a supposed failed assassination attempt on Islamic cleric Saeed Mohammed Hussein Valada in Beirut, Lebanon, caused the deaths of at least 45 people and the injuring of 175 others. I really wouldn't call that a failed assassination attempt, since 45 people were murdered. However, the primary target by the sound of it lived, so... In 1983, while addressing a convention of evangelicals, US President Ronald Reagan labeled the Soviet Union a quote-unquote evil empire. Well, of course he did. They kicked our asses up and down the court and owned us during the space race. Of course we label them that, because the United States of America is a sore loser. In 1979, Philips demonstrated the compact disc publicly for the first time. In 1978, the first radio episode of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams was transmitted on BBC Radio 4. In 1971, the fight of the century between Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali commenced, with Frazier victorious in all 15 rounds via unanimous decision. In 1965, 3,500 United States Marines became the first U.S. land combat forces committed during the Vietnam conflict. In 1957, Ghana joined the United Nations. Also in 1957, the 1957 Georgia Memorial to Congress, which petitioned the U.S. Congress to declare the ratification of the 14th and 15th Amendments to the U.S. Constitution null and void, was adopted by the U.S. state of Georgia. Also in 1957, Egypt reopened the Suez Canal after the Suez Crisis. In 1949, Millard Gillers, aka Axis Sally, was condemned to prison for treason. In 1947, 13,000 troops of the Republic of China Army arrived in Taiwan after the February 28th incident and launched crackdowns, which caused the deaths of thousands of people, including many elites. This became a major root of the Taiwan independence movement. In 1936, Daytona Beach and Road Course held its first oval stock car race. In 1920, the Arab Kingdom of Syria, the first modern Arab state to come into existence, was established. In 1917, the United States Senate voted to limit filibusters by adopting the cloture rule. Or how about we outright ban them? Our government does enough to drag their feet and get nothing done on your tax dollar, by the way. In 1917, International Women's Day protests in St. Petersburg marked the beginning of the February Revolution, due to today being February 23rd on the Julian calendar. In 1914, the Royal Thai Air Force made their first flights at Don Mueang International Airport in Bangkok. In 1910, French aviatrix Raymond de Laroche became the first woman to receive a pilot's license. In 1817, the New York Stock Exchange was founded. In 1792, the Gnaden-Hutton Massacre occurred, in which 96 Native Americans in Gnaden-Hutton, Ohio, who had bent over and converted to Christianity, were murdered by Pennsylvania militiamen in retaliation for raids carried out by other tribes. In 1775, an anonymous writer, believed by some to be Thomas Paine, published African Slavery in America, which became the first article calling for the emancipation of slaves and the abolition of slavery. In 1655, John Castor became the first legally recognized slave in England's North American colonies where a crime was not committed. And in 1618, Johannes Kepler discovered the third law of planetary motion. Births: James Van Der Beek, 1977, Freddie Prinze Jr., 1976, John of God, 1495. Deaths: William Howard Taft, 1930, Ferdinand von Zeppelin, 1917, Millard Fillmore, 1874, John of God, 1550. And that concludes Tifitht Itp. For your dose of passive insanity. I am Ayo, and you are you. Toodles!